Folks, you know what time it is.
Got $5 and want to play some Magic the Gathering? Well, if I got some ideas for you. This is $5 Deck Tech!
That's right, another $5 deck tech. As my voice goes. It's like I had a show the other day or something. This one's a little different. I know I said in my last one I'm not going to do TCG player, and you know, I'm not going to tell you to not use them flat out. They, you know, for personal reasons, not really personal reasons. It's just, you know, I grew up in a union family, but my father was a union roofer. So, yeah. Either way, I don't think eBay is doing TCG Player any justice by doing what they're doing, and TCG Player themselves. I kind of knew this, unfortunately, was going to happen when I found out eBay bought TCG Player, but that being said, Card Kingdom exists. Your local game store definitely exists. I'm only really using these as a pricing guide. Even Star City exists as well. And they're kind of, when it comes to treating employees anyway. But, you know, you're out there, you're not going to find anything 1,000% perfect. And if you are, I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to be severely disappointed. Do the best that you can do. Card Kingdom, I've priced this deck out with Card Kingdom as well. It's a store, you know, a bigger store, you know, kind of like Star City, but, you know, they just bulk common and uncommon price 25 cents for the most part. So this particular deck, if you wanted to shop at Card Kingdom, would be about $14.50. Not really budget wise. The thing with this deck though is if you played Draft or were around for pre-release or opened up a decent amount of Midnight Hunt, the Innistrad, the return to Innistrad, here you go. You probably have the vast majority of these cards already. This is Blue-Black Zombies, and we're going to kick it off with creatures. First off, we are starting with Doomed Dissenter for 1 and a black creature human. When Doomed Dissenter dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token for 1/1, and then you get a 2/2 zombie when it dies. This card is now 10 cents a piece, and we are playing a playset of them. Siege Zombie for 1 and a black for another zombie. You're going to get the theme here. Basically, every creature we play is a zombie. For a 2/2, tap 3 untapped creatures you control. Each opponent loses 1 life. This is, you know, occasionally you get 2-3 points of damage through with this creature just from the untaps, especially with all the weird zombies that we make that once they attack, I'll get around to them, but, you know, when they attack, they have to decay. Yeah, the decay zombies. It's a good use for the decay zombies as well. We are playing 3 of them, and they are 2 cents a piece. We are playing a whole play set of Bladestitched Skaab for a blue and a black creature zombie soldier. 2/3, and other zombies you control get +1/+0. This doesn't matter if it's a zombie army, doesn't matter if it's a zombie, doesn't matter if it's a zombie with decay, a zombie. As long as it has zombie in the creature type, which every creature we play just about brings a zombie into the field, it's going to get pumped. And we are playing 4 of them, and these are a quarter apiece. We are also playing a whole playset of Falcon Abomination for 2 and a blue for a creature zombie bird for a 2/2. With a creature zombie bird that flies. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay. There's the decay zombie right there. When it can't block, the decayed zombies can't block. And when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. So you kind of want to, like, at least get a couple Bladestitched Skaab out before you, like, decide to use every decay zombie you have, or, you know, pump it to Siege Zombie. We are playing a whole playset of Hobbling Zombie for 2 and a black for 2/2 creature zombie with Death Touch. That's important. Secret Death Touch is a thing. When Hobbling Zombie dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with decay. Once again, decaying. Same thing as Doomed Dissenter, but it replaces itself with a 2/2 decay. This is a great blocker, and half of the time, you get away with that Death Touch. People don't expect you playing Hobbling Zombie. And that's the beauty of this too. You are playing blue-black zombies. You're playing very budget version zombies, but no one's expecting the Hobbling Zombie to have Death Touch. And I've gotten away with some cheeky blocks because of it. We are also playing a playset of Hobbling Zombie, and those are 5 cents a piece. And now card the All-Star in this deck. Dreadhound for 4 and 2 black. For a creature, Demon Dog, a 6/6. We don't care about attacking with this thing most of the time. When it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. Whenever a creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from a library, each opponent loses 1 life. This is huge because, yes, you have to sacrifice the zombie at the end, the decayed zombie at the end of the turn. At the end of combat, it hits the graveyard, then immediately disappears. Tokens. That's what happens. That's the ruling. You know, when a token dies, it hits the graveyard and then immediately disappears. Dreadhound still sees a creature hitting the graveyard from a library or from the battlefield. So Dreadhound does a lot of work, and that also counts for your opponent's creatures as well. We play 2 of them because it's not that vital to the deck, and they are 10 cents a piece. Now we are getting into the spells portion. As I click on there, we are playing 2 copies of Rona's Vortex for a blue with kicker 2 and a black for an instant. Return target creature or planeswalker you don't control to its owner's hand. If this spell was kicked, put that permanent on the bottom of its owner's library instead. Rona's Vortex is a insanely good card for budget. It's 7 cents a piece. We're only playing 2 of them because when I originally created the deck, they were 15 cents a pop. And we were kind of like already on the cusp of not having enough padding in the $5 on this budget. Rona's Vortex, though, it just bounces back to the hand. But we are playing blue-black, so later turns, if we do have the 4 mana available to us, we can actually get rid of one of their big creatures or planeswalkers to the bottom of their library. We were talking Elvish Norns. We were talking any planeswalker that is doing bad things in Standard right now. Yeah, we can get rid of them. Then we are playing 4 copies of Bone Splinters for 1 black sorcery. As an additional cost of this spell, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Destroy target creatures. Sometimes our decayed zombies aren't doing a whole lot, and they are cannon fodder, for lack of a better term, for Bone Splinters. And we can get rid of any of their creatures. Bone Splinters is 2 cents a card, and we are playing 4 of them. Rotten Reunion. This is probably one of the low-key cards that people don't give enough credit to for this deck. For 1 black, an instant. Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. It's got flashback 1 and a black. You can cast it from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. You get 4 power for 3 mana spread across 2 turns. You do not need to target a card in a graveyard either. Basically, there are a lot of times where this is my 1-drop. Where basically, I play this on turn 1 to get a 2/2 Decayed, and then next thing you know, I'm Bladestitched Skaab second turn, and we're good to go. But yeah, this is an amazing card, so under the radar, and it has been for a long time. It is 15 cents a card. We are playing 4 of them. They are that important because in theory, that means we get 2 cracks for making a 2/2 with Decay. We have no 2-drops in our spells. We immediately kick it to the 3-drop spots with Flip the Switch. For 2 and a blue, an instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 4 generic mana. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decay. Even if they pay the 4 mana, you still make a decayed creature. So you can not only counter their spell if you get lucky, but you also get a creature on the board too. We are playing 4 copies of it, and Flip the Switch is 5 cents a card. Urza's Rebuff. One of my favorite counter spells, because utility. I like utility counter spells. Urza's Rebuff in the early game, we're only playing 2 copies of them, and they are 10 cents a piece. But for 1 and 2 blue in an instant, we can either counter target spell or tap up to 2 target creatures. If our opponent doesn't play that many creatures and we have a board full of decayed zombies, sometimes, and it has happened before, Urza's Rebuff gives us the win because they have nothing to block. We are playing 2 copies of Gruesome Realization for 1 and 2 black. For a sorcery, we get to choose one. Once again, I love utility. You draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Creatures your opponent controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. A lot of the time, we will be drawing cards, but if they are playing a go-wide deck, especially with mites, this kind of cripples them in a bad way. And once again, Gruesome Realization is 10 cents, and we are playing 2 copies. We had enough room in the budget to get 4 copies of Waterfront District. They are 8 cents a card. We are playing 4 of them. It comes into play tapped, but we can tap for a blue or a black. Not bad. But for 2, a blue and a black, we can tap it and sacrifice it to draw a card. And the late game, that is significant, especially if we don't have enough cards in hand, if we've run out of cards, if we've whiffed on Gruesome Realizations, we can refill our hand pretty easily. Then we're going to go into the sideboard. Yes, that's right. The whole thing about this is $5 for a 60-card deck and a 15-card sideboard that you can go to your local F&M, your local game store, and play Friday Night Magic or play in any of their standard events for $5 for less than that most of the time to see if you actually want to get back into the format. So we are playing a 15-card sideboard, and we start with 3 Disdainful Strokes. For 1 and a blue, for an instant, counter target spell with mana value 4 or greater. Our opponents can tend to be playing powerful things in the 4 and up spots. At first, when I made this deck, this was Shielded Killer. This was like counter Shielded. But now there's plenty of things since Brothers War and All Will Be One have come out that's just absolutely, you need this in your sideboard. And we're playing 3 of them, and they are now 8. They're 8 cents a piece. They were originally 15 cents. But now they're 8 cents a piece, and that definitely helped. We are playing 2 copies of Negate in the sideboard. Negate counter target non-creature spell for 1 and a blue for an instant. Sometimes we need to board out a couple of, like the Flip the Switches and the Rona's Vortexes and just put our counter spell package in. It's just going to happen. There's a lot of spells, once again, like Portal to Phyrexia. Negate stops that, along with Disdainful Stroke. Negate is 15 cents a piece, and trust it's worth it. Then we are playing 4 copies of Tribute to Urborg for 1 and a blue for an instant with kicker 1 and a blue, 1 and a black for an instant with kicker 1 and a blue. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, that creature gets an additional -1/-1 until end of turn for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. We can kick it every now and again, but once again, this definitely gets rid of a lot of creatures that our opponents could play, mites, a whole gaggle of bad things that can happen to us. We are also playing 2 copies of Choking Miasma in the side. For 1, a black and a black. For kicker green, never going to happen. If the spell was kicked, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. This is in case Gruesome Realization, the -1/-1, just isn't enough to kill our opponent's board, and we need another. They're playing a bunch of 2 toughness creatures. Well, sometimes we have to mutually assured destruction that and also play some Choking Miasmas. And then Tribute to Urborg. I apologize. I jumped ahead. Tribute to Urborg, okay, is a 2-cent card, and we were playing 4 copies of it. Choking Miasma is a 2-cent card, and we were playing 2 copies of it in the sideboard. Finally, 4 copies, a whole playset of Extinguish the Light for 2 black for an instant, destroy target creature or planeswalker. If its mana value was 3 or less, you gain 3 life. This is just This is just an easy creature planeswalker removal with no extra steps. Rona's Vortex, we have to pay a kicker. Bone Splinters, we have to sacrifice a creature. This one, a little bit more mana intensive, but we get to destroy target creature or planeswalker. And if they're playing weenie small creatures and planeswalkers and 3-drops, we can gain some life, and that is definitely key here. But yeah, this is the deck. I am very satisfied with how this deck came out, and the reason why this deck came out the way it did. Honestly, when Crimson Vow was a thing, I definitely Midnight Hunt, Crimson Vow. The first one that came out, I forget, I can't remember off the top of my head. The draft boogeyman, if you will, was zombies. And there was more times where I didn't get good zombies at all and still ran the table, which is playing common and uncommon zombies, and that's it. Unfortunately, I think in Phyrexia, all will be one. The lurking monster in the background is Toxic, but Toxic has 3-4 decks that it can be viable in. You were literally fighting with the rest of the table for blue-black zombies. If you didn't get the first zombie pick, you were kind of like, well, I'm not going to win this draft because I'm going to run into 3 zombie decks that are going to be superior. But that being said, we're going to get into some games now. We're going to get into a game here. Tell me if you like the actual test runs that I do in best of 3 with these. Yeah, I have a lot of decks. The Koth deck is very funny. The Koth deck is not budget. I don't think it hit budget anymore. That was like a pre-release thing, or like early on in the format. The whole running joke is just I was playing 30 mountains with the Koth deck. That's how we were able to get under budget, under the $5. But yeah, use whoever you want to get these cards from. The other thing I wanted to make about TCG Player, it's from TCG Player Direct. That's who you should be mad at. You shouldn't be mad at the other stores that are using the storefront of TCG Player. Because if you are, you're affecting them. Like, they literally just mail the out. And from their stores. Like, from their storefront. They just mail it out to you. There's nothing that TCG Player interacts with on those. That being said, not a good keep. This would not be a good keep because we don't have a swamp. We have too many lands, but we have a Falcon Abomination, and I hate mulling to 5. I do not like the mulligan to 5. We actually don't need the Waterfront. Actually, we'll keep the Waterfront District, and that'll be our first turn. We have no idea what we're playing against here in the best of 3. Fun fact, that card is more expensive than the rest of our deck. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you want to get back... They're playing Mites, by the way. Courier's Briefcase. Whoa, Green 1 Citizen? Are they playing tokens? I think they are. Alright, if they're playing tokens, I think we get Falcon Abomination out and see what they do. Now, this is no knock to anybody that plays Magic and spends a little bit of money on the cards and whatnot. This is just in case you want to get back into the game and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money. I'm not blocking. What do you think I am? Not intelligent? That being said, I think we can attack here. Can this turn into a creature? No. We're going to attack and see what happens. And keep up that counter spell. Alright, they're going to gain 3 life, so we're in total losing 1 life. But the herd migration tells us that we're playing against Domain. 5-color Domain. So we're playing against 5-color Domain. So if they like want to cast a spell this turn, I think we just flip the switch. Ooh. Alright, that's rough. That is kind of really rough, come to think of it. I'm just going to do that and see what they do. See what spell I counter. So they cycle the headquarters, which isn't too bad. But now what are they doing? They drop 1 more land, and I think they have Domain. They're attacking. What are they doing? I wish it was an untapped land. Because then I could have played a spell. Because I could have played a spell into... Yeah, like playing a spell into something. Herd migration. All right, I'm okay with the herd migration because they have just yeah. There's the red. They have all 5 land types, so they don't need the proving grounds anymore. So there's that. I think they're afraid of a counterspell. Archangel, we are just gonna flip the switch. Because Zombie Tribal, baby, there we go. Now we can Hobbling Zombie. And we're just gonna attack again. Hobbling Zombie, we have Counterspell up, which is great. Kami War? Can't let him get the Kami War out. They actually did get off to a very slow start. But that's what that's what the 5-color domain deck can. If it gets going, then we in trouble. And I think we might be in trouble here. We have one more counter spell left. Archangel of Wrath. We cannot let them. They would just literally blast the A-bomb and the zombie. Gain 4 life. We can't let it happen now. We need to flip the switch. That is not a flip the switch. So I am going to get him down to 8. We got some things going on here. Another herd migration. They're going up to 11. So far, we've been holding up very well against the domain deck. But if they have another Archangel, Leyline Binding. Exile until it leaves the battlefield. Alright. Also, alright, Atraxa. Alright, we gotta do this and hope that we get... Oh! Ooh. Ooh! And we flip the switch again. Honestly, if... That's why Waterfront District's in. If we didn't get... If we didn't get that flip the switch, it was probably game over. Very much so game over. Now they're drawing 3. Because they have the Urborg to do it. Get him down to 4. Drag to the bottom. Each creature where X is basic land you control. They're going to get mad that we've got like 7 counter spells in our hand. Bladestitched Skaab. Get him down to 1. Got him down to 1. We can also sacrifice another Waterfront District. Archangel. They didn't kick it? No, they kicked it. So they're going to kick the A-bomb. And kick the A-bomb, kick me. That's fine. That's fine. They're up to 5. They can say good game all they want. They can also be salty about what I'm about to do to them. Alright. We have to draw a card here. We have to Doomed Dissenter. We have to splinter them bones. Good game, eh? Alright, we got him down maybe to 3. I don't know. They probably have something to get rid of our Skaab. Ijano? Alright. But we've managed to get rid of 3 of their Archangel Wraths. So they get to look at the top 5, get 2 of them in the hand, lose 2 life, down to 3. What do they got now? Mirror Breaker. Courier's Briefcase. The Mirror Breaker has been more expensive than every single card that we've done. Do we draw 2? Lose 2? Or make that... I think we gotta draw 2, lose 2. Alright, Dreadhound came a little bit late, I think. But we might just wind up winning it with Dreadhound. Depends on what they get. Depends on what they get. They go down to 1, folks. That's how confident they is. I mean, they are getting to look at like 10 cards off their library. But the fact of the matter is, every deck on these $5 deck techs that we've played have been less expensive than that Fable of Mirror Breaker at times. And the Leyline Binding. Or Leyline Binding the token. Leyline Binding the token. They Leyline Binding my token. Dreadhound for the win. If it doesn't get countered, we go into game 2. I would love to go into game 2 winning this one. I would love to do that. Win this game. Mill 3. They're going to gain 3. Sacrifice. Draw 3. They've almost drawn their entire library. And we would have had the win too with Dreadhounds. They are digging for something, and I have no idea. I have no idea what they're trying for. But they can basically copy now, but they don't have 2 keys. They don't have the double. They have another Mirror Breaker. I don't know if they go into attacks, though. Kami War. Alright, well... Well, it's very late in the video. Did Arena crash? Well, Arena crashed, but you can see what the deck does. Son of a... You know what? I'm going to try to log back in. Oof. Get back into the game. 5-color domain, though. We took it to them. I loved how they good gamed me, and then it went on for another 5 turns. And we almost got him. They're going to be... I don't know what the domain deck does. I don't know, like, if they want to be cocky and arrogant, that's fine, but my $4.50 deck just took it to you. We can get rid of the flip the switches. We will Disdainful Stroke. No, not the flip the switch. We need a Negate. And then I think Gruesome Realizations come out for Choking Miasmas. And then I think we get rid of the rebuff. 1 rebuff for a Negate. And another rebuff for Extinguish the Light. And I think we take out the 2 other Dreadhounds for 2 more Extinguish the Lights. And that's what we rock. Now, the only bad thing about MTG, oh, That's a better hand. And remember, we did mulligan. The only bad thing about that is now I'm going to have to maybe edit it because my screen was exposed. Even though it is just I think it's just a boring blue generic background now. Yeah. Y'all don't need to see my tabs. Our opponent is deep in the tank. Or it's just lagging again. Because that was not their decks. Sleeves. Remember, folks, Rafine's Tower is... Xander's Lounge is probably the same price, if not a little bit more expensive than this entire deck. This is why... We're gonna swing with the Dissenter first. And then I think we bring in another Dissenter. And then we're gonna end that turn. See what they do. Cut down. Okay. You want to make a 2/2 that can attack and stay on the board? That's fine by me. Graveyard Trespasser. All right. You lived a good life, Graveyard Trespasser, but I will always discard that land. And we'll bring in a Hobbling Zombie just to continue the 2/2 zombies that don't have decay in our hand. Fable, which is fine. Especially if we get a Rona's Vortex. Negate a little too late, but I think we hold on to it. Yeah, I think we hold on to Negate, and I also don't think they realize that those were zombos that don't have decay. That's another tricky thing about this deck. You do play cards that make decayed zombies. You do play cards that don't make decayed zombies, that just make regular zombies. Duress, it's gonna be negated anyway. They're gonna take the negate anyway. Might as well duress it. Drag to the bottom. Okay. I still make a zombie, but now this one has decay. Your deck, man, it's not doing good against this. I mean, it's getting its lumps, man. I'm telling you, like, the thing about these $5 deck techs is most of them perform way better than they have any right to. They really do. I think we just attack with the A-bomb. And then, depending on what they do, we Rotten Reunion. I think we Rotten Reunion a Graveyard Trespasser. And see what they do about it. They negated it. So they have... So let's... they felt Graveyard Trespasser was that important. Alright. Remember, Siege Zombie, we can drain them for one. And if they wipe the board, we definitely will. But we don't have a good... They're afraid of the counterspell. Archangel of Wrath, double... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. So what are they presenting here? So they're going to gain 2 life, I think. And they kiki, yeah, they kiki it. Alright, so our opponent was a trash bag, who was a prick towards the end of the round one. I'll be honest with you. I wish I could have won just to teach him a lesson, because they were like, good game, when the other Archangel came out, and the game still lasted for 5 more turns, and they were really on the ropes here. But blue-black zombies punches up in its weight class, if you ask me. My name's been Dom Douglas. That's the end of the video, folks. May your top deck always be mythic.